You know what's interesting about the word comeback? It assumes you went somewhere. It assumes you left. It assumes there was a fall, a stumble, a moment when everything you built came crashing down around you. And if you're here right now listening to these words, chances are you know exactly what that feels like. Maybe you lost the business you poured your heart into. Maybe a relationship that defined you ended. Maybe you failed at something you were certain you'd succeed at. Maybe you looked in the mirror one day and didn't recognize the person staring back. Maybe you're there right now. But here's what I want you to understand. Right from the start, failure isn't your ending. It's not even your intermission. It's the raw material of your greatest story. And this moment, right now, this is your comeback season. I want to talk to you about rebuilding. Not the sanitized motivational poster version of rebuilding. I'm talking about the real thing. The kind that happens when your hands are shaking and your confidence is shattered. The kind that starts not with a grand declaration, but with the smallest, most uncertain step forward. The kind that nobody sees happening until suddenly you're standing somewhere you never thought you'd reach again. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to tell you. Coming back is harder than starting fresh. When you start something new, you have the luxury of naivety. You don't know what you don't know. You're propelled by excitement and possibility. But when you're coming back, you're dragging the weight of memory with you. You know exactly how much it hurts to fail. You know exactly what you're risking. You know that there are no guarantees, and yet you're still here, still considering it, still thinking about making that move, taking that chance, rebuilding what was lost, or building something entirely new from the rubble. That tells me something about you. It tells me you're not finished. It tells me that somewhere beneath the disappointment and the fear and the exhaustion, there's still a spark. And that spark, that's all you need. Let me tell you what rebuilding really looks like. It doesn't start with motivation. Motivation is what gets you through the good days, but you're going to have a lot of days that aren't good. Rebuilding starts with decision. A simple, unglamorous decision that you're going to try again. Not because you feel ready, not because the circumstances are perfect, but because staying where you are is no longer an option. Think about the phoenix rising from the ashes. Beautiful metaphor, right? But let's be honest about what actually has to happen first. The bird has to burn completely. Everything it was has to be reduced to ash. There's no partial phoenix. There's no phoenix that kept its wingtips intact. It's total destruction followed by total renewal. Maybe that's where you are. Maybe you've burned. Maybe everything you built, everything you identified with, everything you thought defined you is now just ash. And I know that's painful. I know it feels like the end. But what if it's not? What if this complete destruction was necessary? Not because you deserved it, not because the universe is punishing you, but because sometimes we build our lives on foundations that can't support where we're meant to go. Sometimes we need to lose everything to discover what we're truly made of. The phoenix doesn't rise because it's optimistic. It rises because that's what phoenixes do. It's their nature. And coming back, that's your nature too. You've already proven that by every time in your life you faced difficulty and kept going. Every morning you got up when you wanted to stay in bed. Every time you tried again after failing. Every moment you chose to keep breathing, keep moving, keep existing when it would have been easier to quit. You're already a comeback story. You just might not have realized it yet. Now, let's talk about the practical reality of rebuilding. Because inspiration fades and you're going to need more than good feelings to sustain you through what's coming. First, you need to get brutally honest with yourself about what happened, not to punish yourself, not to live in the past, but because you can't rebuild wisely if you don't understand what caused the collapse. This isn't about blame. This is about learning. Did you fail because you quit too soon or because you held on too long? Did you trust the wrong people or did you fail to trust anyone at all? Did you ignore the warning signs because you were afraid to face them? Did you try to do everything alone when you needed help? Did you let fear make your decisions? These are hard questions. The answers might be uncomfortable, but you need them because the goal isn't just to rebuild, it's to build better, stronger, wiser. And here's something crucial. Rebuilding doesn't mean recreating what you had before. This isn't about going backward. This is A-B. Out taking the lessons, taking the scars, taking everything you've learned and using it to construct something new. Maybe something that looks completely different from what you lost. Think about Japanese kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. The philosophy is that the piece is more beautiful for having been broken. The cracks aren't hidden, they're highlighted, they're celebrated, they become part of the story, part of the beauty. That's you now. You're not going to rebuild into the person you were before. You're going to rebuild into someone who carries their history in every line, every crack filled with gold, every lesson learned etched into your foundation. Someone more interesting, more resilient, more real. But let's be clear about something else. This process is going to be slow, painfully slow. We live in a world that celebrates overnight success, instant transformation, rapid results, but real rebuilding doesn't work on that timeline. You're not microwaving. a meal. You're cultivating a garden. Plant, water, wait. Plant, water, wait. Trust the process even when you can't see the growth. There will be days when you question everything, when you wonder if you're making any progress at all, when it seems like everyone else is moving forward while you're still stuck in neutral. Those days are part of it. Those days are when your commitment gets tested. Those days are when you prove to yourself that this time is different. And you know what makes this time different? You do. The fact that you failed before and you're willing to try again, that's courage, real courage. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. Let me tell you what I've observed about people who successfully rebuild their lives. They share certain characteristics. They're not superhuman. They're not lucky. They're not blessed with some special advantage. They simply do specific things consistently. They show up every single day, even when they don't feel like it, especially when they don't feel like it. They understand that progress is built in the mundane moments, not the inspired ones. They take the small actions even when those actions feel pointless. They surround themselves with the right people. Not yes men who tell them everything is fine, not cynics who reinforce their doubts, but honest people who believe in their potential while holding them accountable to their goals. People who've been through their own fires and came out the other side. They're patient with themselves. They understand that healing isn't linear, that some days will feel like steps backward, that triggers will arise and old wounds will ache, and they keep going anyway, treating themselves with the same compassion they'd offer a good friend. They protect their mental space fiercely. They're careful about what they consume, who they listen to, what narratives they allow into their heads. They know that rebuilding requires energy and they can't afford to stay it on toxicity, comparison, or self-sabotage. They take responsibility without taking all the blame. They own their part in what went wrong. They acknowledge where they could have done better. But they don't carry guilt that doesn't belong to them. They don't make themselves smaller to make others comfortable. They redefine success. They stop measuring themselves against old metrics that no longer apply. They create new definitions based on who they're becoming, not who they were. Progress over perfection, growth over speed, authenticity over image. Most importantly, they refuse to let their failure define them. They integrate it, learn from it, build with it, but they don't become it. They understand that what happened to them is part of their story, not the entirety of it. Here's something else you need to hear. Your comeback doesn't have to look impressive to anyone else. It doesn't need to be Instagram worthy. It doesn't need to go viral. It doesn't need to make anyone who doubt Ted, you eat their words. Though if that happens, that's a nice bonus. Your comeback is for you. It's about proving to yourself that you can, that you're stronger than your circumstances, that failure was an event, not an identity, that you have more chapters to write. Maybe your comeback looks like getting out of bed every day for a month straight. Maybe it looks like applying for one job a week despite the rejections. Maybe it looks like going back to school at 40. Maybe it looks like starting that business with your last bit of savings. Maybe it looks like opening your heart again after it was shattered. Maybe it looks like forgiving yourself for mistakes you've been carrying for years. Whatever it looks like, it's valid. It's real. It's yours. And let's talk about the people who doubt you. The ones who remember your failure better than they remember your efforts. The ones who've written you off, counted you out, decided your story is over. They're going to exist. They're going to say things. They're going to have opinions. Let them. Their doubt is not your burden to carry. Their limited imagination about your potential is not your limitation. Their inability to see your comeback doesn't make it any less real. In fact, use it. Let their skepticism fuel you. Not in an angry, vengeful way, but in a way that reminds you that you're doing this for you, not for their approval. Every time you want to quit, remember that someone assumed you would. Then decide to prove yourself wrong instead of proving them right. But here's the flip side. There will also be people who believe in you. Maybe not everyone. Maybe not the people you expected. But someone, somewhere sees what you're capable of. They see the potential in your ashes. They see the phoenix before it rises. Find those people. Listen to them. Let them remind you of your worth when you forget. One of the hardest parts of rebuilding is dealing with the internal narrative, the voice that says you're not good enough, smart enough, strong enough, worthy enough, the voice that catalogs every mistake and predicts every failure, the voice that whispers, "See, I told you so," every time something goes wrong. That voice is not your friend. That voice is not protecting you. That voice is the accumulated weight of every doubt anyone ever planted in you, every criticism you internalized, every fear you gave power to, and you can choose not to listen to it. You can acknowledge that it exists without letting it dictate your actions. You can hear it and say, "Thank you for your input, but I'm moving forward anyway." This is where discipline becomes more important than motivation. Motivation is fickle. It comes and goes with your mood, your energy, your circumstances. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation has left the building. Discipline is doing the work when you don't feel like it. Discipline is maintaining your standards when no one's watching. Discipline is choosing the hard right over the easy wrong, again and again and again, until those choices become habits and those habits become character. You're building character right now. In every moment you choose growth over comfort. In every instance you push through resistance. In every decision to show up for yourself, even when yourself is the last thing you want to deal with. Let's also acknowledge that rebuilding is expensive. Not just financially, though it might be that too. It's expensive emotionally. It costs energy you're not sure you have. It requires vulnerability you've been hurt for showing. It demands faith when your trust has been broken. You're going to have moments when you wonder if it's worth it, when the cost feels too high and the outcome feels too uncertain. In those moments, remember this: the cost of not trying is higher. The cost of staying stuck, of letting fear win, of abandoning yourself. That cost compounds over time until you're living a life that feels like a prison of your own making. You've already paid the price of failure. You've already experienced the pain of things falling apart. You've already survived the worst of it. The question now isn't whether you can handle more pain. You can. You already have. The question is, what are you willing to endure for the possibility of something better? And here's what I believe. You are capable of more than you know. Your capacity for resilience, for adaptation, for transformation, it's greater than you've ever given yourself credit for. You've been underestimating yourself. You've been defining yourself by your lowest moments instead of your strength. In surviving them, every person who's ever achieved anything remarkable has failed. Every single one. The difference between them and the people who stay down isn't talent or luck or privilege, though those things can help. It's the simple, stubborn refusal to let failure be the final word. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter was accepted. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah was fired from her first television job. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he founded. These aren't exceptions, they're the rule. Success is built on a foundation of failure. The people we celebrate for their achievements are the same people who failed spectacularly and chose to continue anyway. You're in good company. Your failure doesn't disqualify you from success, it qualifies you. It gives you perspective that people who've never failed don't have. It teaches you lessons that can't be learned any other way. It develops resilience that becomes your greatest asset. So what now? What's your next step? Because this moment, right now, this is where everything changes. This is where you decide that your story isn't over. This is where you choose come back over, give up. Your next step doesn't have to be big. It just has to be forward. Maybe it's making a phone call you've been avoiding. Maybe it's updating your resume. Maybe it's having an honest conversation. Maybe it's asking for help. Maybe it's simply writing down one goal and one action you can take toward it today. Do that thing, that one thing, then tomorrow do one more thing, then the next day another. Don't worry about the whole staircase. Just take the next step, then the next one, then the next, and celebrate the small wins. Seriously, every step forward deserves acknowledgement. You got out of bed when it was hard, that's a win. You sent that email despite your anxiety, win. You chose to eat something healthy when comfort food was calling, win. You worked on your goal for 10 minutes instead of scrolling on your phone, win. These small wins accumulate. They build momentum. They prove to your brain that progress is possible, that effort yields results, that you can do hard things, that there will be setbacks. Accept that now. There will be days when you slide backward. There will be moments when you make mistakes or poor choices or let yourself down. That's part of being human. That's part of the process. The difference is how you respond. Do you use the setback as evidence that you should quit, or do you use it as information about what to do differently next time? Do you spiral into self-criticism, or do you practice self-compassion and recommit to your goals? Your comeback isn't ruined by setbacks. It's forged in how you handle them. And remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to know exactly how this is going to end. You just need to know that you're not giving up, that you're committed to the process, that you're willing to learn and adjust and keep going. The future you're building might look different than what you imagined. It might be better in ways you can't currently conceive. It might take you places you never planned to go. Stay open to that. Stay FL. Exibel. The universe might have better plans for you than you have for yourself. This is your comeback season, not because circumstances are perfect, Not because the path is clear, not because success is guaranteed, but because you're still here, because you're still fighting, because somewhere inside you, despite everything, there's still hope. That hope is your superpower. Protect it, nurture it, let it guide you through the dark days. Let it remind you why you started when you want to quit. You are not your failure. You are not your mistakes. You are not your worst day or your biggest regret. You are the sum of every choice you make from this moment forward. You are the courage it takes to try again. You are the strength it takes to rebuild. You are the person who falls down and gets back up. And that person is remarkable. So welcome to your comeback season. It's time to show yourself what you're truly capable of. It's time to rebuild, not into who you were, but into what you're meant to become. It's time to take every lesson, every scar, every hard-won piece of wisdom, and use it to construct something extraordinary. Your story isn't over. In fact, the best chapters haven't been written yet. And you're the one holding the pen. Now go write something worth reading, not for them, for you. Welcome back. We've been waiting for you.